I think the story that stands out the most to me was on the van. I'd probably been volunteering 4 or 5 years, and one morning a young black man came, and he had a form that he needed to have filled out for a work physical. And he'd been trying and trying to get this work physical because it was going to be, finally he could get a job. And all he had to do was get this physical, but he hadn't been able to find any place that he could get it free. And somebody just mentioned, why don't you go down there to the van? I think maybe they can do it for you. And when he came in and I saw him, I thought, boy, he looks really familiar. And it finally occurred to me that he was a man I had known from high school. And he had really fallen on some very tough times. He'd been an athlete, very popular, well-known, and I just couldn't believe, here he is on the van, homeless, begging for a free physical. And finally I said, I think I know you. And we talked for a while, and he said, I thought I recognized you. And we talked for a while, and I just, he was very embarrassed at first, and I said, no, I'm glad you found your way here, because it does my heart good to see you've struggled, but here you are, really trying to turn things around. And if I can be a little part of that, that's wonderful.
Free Clinic, and I work at the front desk at the Blue Triangle Dental and Wellness Center. It's a rewarding job that I have been doing for 13 years now, and I love it. And the patients love me too. And we're like family. All of them are my favorite. Well, it's been one patient that came in. She haven't had teeth for like 20 years, and she finally got some. And when she came to the front desk, she just started crying.
We all got stories, no matter if we're rich or poor or middle-class people or whatever, we all got somewhere along the line in our lifetime, we've ran into spots where we needed help. I got disowned from my family when I was 16. I was dropped off in front of the mission, and from that point on I had to find a way to survive. I had no money, income, no food, no clothes, no shelter. Life. I set up stages. I've flipped burgers, dig ditches. My family's deceased. We had a guy graduate last Saturday. He was there the longest when I got there, and he finally got his own place, and he's doing good. We try to keep the place clean. We look out for each other. We help one another. I'm trying. It's rough when you get up in age. That's the thing, you can't give up. Every day is a blessing. Once you wake up and what you try to do with that day, that's the biggest thing. And this morning, I thank God, which is my higher power, for waking me up and giving me another day.
So another story I think that stands out is, Harry Blom was a well-known artist in the community, and Harry was really I think he was the impetus for starting the April show, which our good friend started several years ago. But Harry came to the health recovery program, and at the time he had been having pretty serious seizures and really was not feeling well at all. And at one point I said, Harry, you got to get back and get painting. And this guy literally was a prolific painter and a very good painter. I mean, he was well known. Like, people would line up at the April show just to come in to buy his paintings. Like, there would be people waiting at the door, and they would immediately go in and buy his paintings, of which we have a couple hanging in our home. And so I went to Kelly, my wife's an artist, said, hey, we need to buy some supplies for this guy so we can start painting. So Kelly helped me put together a package for him of supplies, and we took them to Harry, and I said, Harry, you got to start painting. And he said, I'm just not quite ready. And actually, Harry's first painting, and it's hanging in the health recovery program, was a painting of the health recovery program sitting across the street prior to all the development that's now happened in Fall Creek Place. But Harry painted, and you can actually, when you're looking at it now, it actually is slightly off to the right, because as he was recovering, his vision was off and everything was off slightly to the right, but it's still a very treasured painting. And then from there on, he just, I mean, he painted and painted. And, you know, Harry's one of those guys, literally, he would, you know, be walking down the alleyway and find a board or the back of a television set that someone had thrown, whatever. I mean, he painted on everything, and literally was probably working on no less than 8 to 10 paintings at one time. And so that stands out to me, because Harry was a great guy, and actually another guy that ended up eventually moving to the Blue Triangle, and did quite well. And it was just a great human being, and another one of those individuals that someone will never forget. And you know, we featured his paintings at Art for Beds, and he's had donated paintings and drawings and been an integral part of the Gennesaret family for sure.
I think there's a lot of guys that touched my heart. You know, I remember the first person that was in the HRP. I just remember being outside when he first came in, and I was planting flowers because it was a brand new building, everything was new. And at one point I was diagnosed with cancer, and the guys were really, they were so empathetic. And they were so caring, and they talked to Mark a lot about it, and they'd ask how I was all the time. And I was just really touched.
When I went to the health recovery program, it was like a gift from God, you know. And I thank God on a daily basis for them and Miss Janelle, because she, you know, they, you know, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I'm at this place and all I have to do is recover, you know. Well, I think since I went to Gennesaret, you know, I had a lot of time to, you know, to focus on me and my life, and they, you know, allowed me to, you know, they provided me, you know, they cared about me, and that was extremely important, you know. God kind of tapped me on the shoulder, and it's like, okay, we're gonna do this my way, because you're not, you know, you're not doing this right.
Quite rewarding when somebody's come in for some help and you've helped them. You've given them their medicine. Maybe they just moved here or they lost their medicine. You get them in to see the doctor. The pharmacist gives them their medicine. Sometimes the look in their eyes and their appreciation of Gennesaret is pretty rewarding.
Favorite people I've encountered in my work is a lady named Brenda, and she is one that I kind of started out her journey with her, and to this day we still talk. But she, a lot of times with our mammograms, we offer them on a mammography van that's at the St. Vincent de Paul Food Pantry. So this woman visited the food pantry fairly regularly, and one time she saw the mammography van there and asked about getting a mammogram. So I signed her up for the next time the van would be there. She usually got a ride with someone to the pantry, and so that's another one of our services, is that we provide transportation, because we want to remove every barrier there is for a woman to obtain the preventive services. I was actually the one that shared that diagnosis with her, because she didn't have a primary care doctor, and so when the results came in, they wanted to call her on the phone and tell her, and I said, no, I'll take care of this. So I went and sat with her at her home and told her about the diagnosis, but then immediately told her, this is how we're going to get you treated, because I kind of already put some of that in place for her to get the treatment ball rolling. And so I went with her to several of her chemotherapy treatments and her surgery, and we just developed a real close bond, because she knew what I had been through, and I knew what she was going through. And she, whatever came up, she just knew she could handle it, because she could either call me, or I had already told her something and she knew that she can get through it. So she finished her treatment about almost 2 years ago, but she still stays in contact with me. In fact, she called me this week to tell me she had been just for her routine checkup and everything was good. And she said, I just wanted to share that news.
Very nice, very appreciative patients. I tell my husband when I come home that it was a good day if I got 3 God bless yous. And that's what I usually get. I'll hand them their medicines, talk to them about it, and they'll reach back and tap my forearm and say, honey, God bless you. I'm so glad you're here. And for me, the payment that I most appreciate is a God bless you.